Hello. My name is Taylor King, and I am currently enrolled for game design at Full Sail. For my Pecha presentation, I have decided to discuss global warming, its effects on us and the world, and some proposed solutions. So, let's start off by defining global warming. It is the long-term rising of the planet's temperature. And as this picture illustrates, due to the density of our atmosphere, some of the heat that tries to escape our planet gets reflected back, creating a greenhouse effect. So this is a naturally occurring process, and it has happened multiple times in Earth's history. The chart on top shows a cycle from about 400,000 years ago to today, and the picture on the bottom shows a more recent chart of cooling from about 10,000 years back. So a common misconception is that burning fossil fuels, leaving large quantities of waste and other forms of pollution cause this process, and that just isn't true. It has, however, begun to damage our atmosphere, which has allowed more heat to enter the planet, accelerating the aforementioned greenhouse effect. So what's the problem? If we do nothing to combat it, global warming can cause a ton of problems for us as humans and that the animals that inhabit this world. But species extinction and mass flooding are just the surface of what we could be facing if we do nothing. According to EnviroNewsNigeria.com, this list is a small sampling of the endangered species currently being affected by climate change. Each of these animals on this list holds an important role in their ecosystem, and the loss of them will either cause or is because of the loss of a critical food item in that ecosystem. As the ice caps on the poles of our planet begin to melt, the sea levels will in turn begin to rise, causing flooding in coastal regions and possibly causing cities like New Orleans or Venice to be completely abandoned altogether. As Bill Nye says in an episode of Bill Nye Saves the World, even today, Venice is already facing problems with flooding, as high tides and storms will raise the rivers that have been a staple tourist attraction for so long, turning the beautiful city that we know into flooded streets and ruined shops and homes. This image shows what could happen as a result of rising sea levels. If the water levels rise by just 1.3 feet, everything shown in red here will be completely underwater. 4.6 feet of rising will result in the loss of everything in color on the screen. But, as I said, flooding and extinction are just the start. Over the past 400,000 years, there has been a cycle of rapid temperature increase, followed by a steady drop, ending in an ice age. And as far as we know, this time could be no different. Excuse me. According to the New York Times, scientists have anticipated that in the natural cycle, the next ice age on our Earth will occur in approximately 80,000 years. But with our help, it could come much sooner. And while I do enjoy the cold seasons, we didn't do so hot in the last ice age. So, what can we do to save ourselves? A number of theories have been proposed, but the most drastic options are currently still in debate, and as they can have unforeseen impacts on the world. But the least drastic, however, tend to be a more expensive option. The most obvious option comes from looking for more environmentally friendly forms of energy. Solar and wind energy, of course, would be effective, but they would be likely more expensive on the consumer end. Nuclear power has even been shown to be less impactful per gigawatt than fossil fuels. An option that anyone can do is to plant trees. Deforestation causes a large number of problems affecting the atmosphere, individual species, and even entire ecosystems. Making an attempt to recover some of this lost land will help the world exponentially in the future. There are currently multiple foundations that are attempting to regrow these forests. alivingtribute.org is an organization that will allow people to pay a small amount of money to have a tree or even a grove of trees, planted in the name of a loved one. In the idea of faster solutions to problems, back to Venice, they've already begun construction of these gates that are shown on screen that, once finished, will be able to rise at a high tide, and this will kind of keep some of the water back and help them rebuild what's been damaged. Another proposal to help combat the effects of global warming involves what is being called the iceberg submarine. The project's being led by a man whose name is Faris Rajak, and I'm not going to try the last name because I'll butcher it. But the machine basically would be used to create small icebergs along the Arctic region by collecting water from the ocean, desalinating the water by process of reverse osmosis, and then supercooling that water, producing a large hexagonal block of ice to then float on and hopefully expand. Plus, it'll even have a cool hotel in its lower decks. But, as grim and existential as it all sounds, we do have time. And who knows? 80,000 years from now, science fiction could be science fact, and we could all have means to just avoid this ice age altogether. So, in conclusion, I do believe that global warming is a serious problem, but we also, as humans, have ways to develop, evolve, and adapt as we have so many times before. Thank you.